All right, so I've got my audience members ready. If you'll notice the man on the right with his get up for today. Because we are going to be discussing the Washington Redskins and why they should change their name due to the outcry from the Native American community. We're going to go over the history of the Washington Redskins, their logo and their name, and why they defend keeping their name. We're going to go over the view of the Native American community and why they do not like the name and the logo. We're also going to go over the other teams that have changed their name and have adjusted to the times. And then we're going to go over a few of the name changes that we could change the Washington Redskins to. So as we delve into the controversy of the Washington Redskins, we got to first understand the history of their name. So according to Dan Snyder, the current owner of the team, the name originated from their original coach. In 1933, it was William Lone Star Dietz. However, according to Tim Marson of Newsweek, a trial in 1919 alleged his fabrication allowed him to register as a non-citizen and avoid getting drafted in World War I. So basically, there's a sham in that the original coach that the name was trying to honor was not indeed a Native American and used his status to avoid getting drafted. Also, the former owner of the Washington Redskins, who came up with the name, was a notorious racist. He did not integrate the team until 1962. In the previous 7 years, he was the only team that had no black players. In fact, the federal government had to step in and threaten the owner with removing them from Washington, D.C. if they did not integrate the team. So as we understand the history of the name, we move further to the view of the Native American community. So Dan Schneider, the current owner, he claims that he works with the Native American community to understand their point of view. And even the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, states that in a Washington Post poll, 9 out of 10 Native Americans support the name and the logo. And also in June 2018, there's a Supreme Court ruling against the removal of the name due to free speech. And this is according to Austin of NFL.com. Despite this, there are still a lot of protests that happen each and every game. In fact, this previous Sunday, there was a protest at the stadium requesting that the name be changed. Movements like the American Indian Movement, Rising Hearts, have pushed to rename this team. Right now, they're trying to get it to the Red Hawks, which other teams have named their team. So as we see the resistance to change, we next examine those teams who have changed their name to try to honor and appease the Native American community. The Cleveland Indians have had this logo of the Wahoo for almost 100 years. This past year, they have chosen to remove this logo from any association with the Cleveland Indians. Now, this is a Native American caricature that was drawn almost 100 years ago. But as you can see, it's got red skin, grinning teeth. It's an image that can be very offensive to the Native American community. And this removal of the logo was pushed by MLB Commissioner Robert Manfred. And of course, there's been a lot of controversy behind this logo that the MLB and the Cleveland Indians finally decided, yes, this is offensive and we need to remove it. Now, other NCAA and high school teams have changed their names in the past. The University of Miami, Ohio, renamed their team from the Redskins to the Red Hawks. And Dartmouth changed theirs from the Indians to the Big Green. The Stanford Indians are now called the Stanford Cardinals. Now, this name change was to respect the Native American community But they also kept their mascots that were important to that community. For example, the Red Hawks. For Miami, Ohio, that was a tribe within that area that they wanted the team to be named after. So these teams are changing their names, but also trying to honor the communities and the mascots or the animals that those tribes that were close to those teams associated with. So, as we see other teams adjust to the times, we ask, why do Washington Redskins cannot change their names? Here are some proposed name changes that have been brought up, such as the Washington Warriors. A lot of sports teams are named the Warriors, and many of them are honoring the Native American warriors of the past. There's also the Washington Red Tails. In doing so, it kind of keeps the name Red in the team, but is not so offensive. And like we spoke earlier, the Washington Red Hawks is another name being pushed by the Native American community. In conclusion, we've discussed the history of the name and the origin of the logo. We've seen how the previous coach, who the team was named after, was indeed a falsified Native American. And we have the owner being a notorious racist who put the name together. We see how the ownership claims to be involved with the Native American community. However, we still see protests each and every game against the name. We see how teams such as the Cleveland Indians have identified that their logo might be offensive, and they've removed it or made adjustments. And we've seen how the NCAA and high schools have made adjustments to honor the Native American community in changing their logo or name, but keeping associations to honor the community. In closing, I have a quote by Bob Costas, the NFL commentator. But think for a moment about the term Redskins and how it truly differs from all the others. Ask yourself what the equivalent would be if directed toward African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, or members of any other ethnic group. When considered that way, Redskins cannot possibly honor a heritage or a noble character trait, nor could it possibly be considered a neutral term. It's an insult, a slur, no matter how benign the present-day intent. It's fair to say that for a long time now, and certainly in 2013, no offense has been intended. But if you take a step back, isn't it clear to see how offensive might legitimately be taken? And here's my works cited. And this concludes my persuasive speech to why the Redskins should change their name and logo. Thank you.